Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale. Ohai gunzaimas, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal? Hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabi, bhalli kiraya, hosh galdin, and hayo sayo. Khuyamora, adab, and thank you very much everybody for tuning into PTV World. You're certainly watching World this morning alongside my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Haja Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your Friday with us. Happy Friday first of all. And before I move on to Miss Haja Satti, ladies and gentlemen, there's just one simple, humble request to all of those people watching us in 46 different countries, that almost half of Pakistan is under the weather, and so we have been under the weather too as well. Not feeling really very well, but we're still trying to keep up with our energies. So please make sure, God forbid, if you feel today, by any chance, that we're not full on energy, please make sure that you give us that space of being under the weather. First things first. Hello Haja, how are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for introducing me, Shahzad. So, alhamdulillah, I'm feeling better.
Wow.
And I was reading that the virus has mutated because we are using so much antibiotics and medicines that certainly virus is also clever in adapting and changing to the environment, right?
Exactly.
And that is why it's getting more potent and more severe, and that is why we are all affected by it.
And this is the exact reason why, alhamdulillah, over here I happen to be the first ever Pakistani who actually happens to be an ambassador for the antimicrobial resistance. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, I've been advocating about it, so please make sure that, God forbid, if it is not very necessary, do not use antibiotics just like that, because people over here have this habit in our country. They do not go to the doctor, they already know it, which antibiotic to take, and they will have a 5-day or a 6-day or a 7-day course by just themselves. So please make sure that you don't do that, because you're going to create that resistance within your own body. And unfortunately, God forbid, if you come into a situation where your body is at a resistant point of view, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to get better. So please make sure that you reduce the use to the minimum, and please discuss this with your doctors, even if you have to opt for an antibiotic course, whether which one to go for or whether to go for it or not 100%. So, how are you now?
And alhamdulillah,
did you use antibiotics?
I think so, yes, I did, but my doctor recommended me. I didn't do the self-medication.
I think that's what the doctors do. They would always recommend an antibiotic, and I think that the doctors really need to speak about it.
The thing is that I do feel that I was affected by the COVID last year, and I do feel that it has affected my digestive system a lot, because whenever now I get sick, my digestive system is the first one to get attacked, and I think my immunity has gone down. And whenever I take any home remedies, like my mom's, I don't know what do you call yakhni in English?
But yakhni soup, chicken soup, mutton soup.
Yeah, soup is something else, but I mean yakhni. So it's not as effective as antibiotics is, right? But then again, you are very correct in pointing it out that it has other bad effects, the fallacies that needs to be corrected.
Exactly. And in addition to that, since you've spoken about that it takes a direct toll on your stomach, I think that the last time when my stomach was upset was when it was my results which were supposed to be out in a day or two. And every time my result was about to come out in a day or two, ladies and gentlemen, that would certainly have a direct impact on my stomach, and I would just wouldn't feel nicer, or even when I'm stressed, I think it will always take a toll on my stomach as well. So for everybody who's out there who still are unable to figure out why their stomach is not well, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you check out whether you're under stress or not, and if you are, do something about it. Go to your support system, be in conversation with your spouse, mother, parents, and be like, hey, you know what, thoda sa stress ho raha hai, dua kar de.
Right. So moving on to our top stories, which is a very good news, especially early in the morning on the Friday. Government announced major cut in the petroleum prices in the pursuance of Prime Minister's directive to provide relief to the masses. Finance Minister Ishaq Dar, in his fortnightly televised message, announced to reduce the petrol prices up to 10 rupees per litre, diesel up to 7 rupees per litre, and kerosene oil 10 rupees per litre. Petrol and diesel will also now be available at 214.8 rupees and 227 rupees per litre respectively, after a reduction of rupees 10 and 7.5 per litre. He further announced that after a decline of rupees 10 per litre, the price of kerosene oil and light diesel oil has been further reduced to 171.83 rupees and 169 per litre respectively.
Wow.
I think we all needed to hear and deserve such kind of news, because there's a global inflation, and obviously there is a reduction in the petrol prices globally. Petrol prices have been reduced to I think $75 per barrel, and government has been kind enough to pass on that effect to the people out there.
And you know what, as soon as I got to know about this news, obviously a part of me was happy, but a part of me was sad, because
Why?
just before I read this news,
You
I
had
was
the
at a petrol pump and I got my car fueled up as well. So I was like, okay, it's perfectly all right, you know, because a lot of other people are going to take advantage of it. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to where nations will only become stronger if they're going to remember their martyrs. And I think that's something which we really need to speak about today, because today happens to be the 8th unfortunate anniversary of terrorist attack on Army Public School Peshawar, which is being observed today. On this day in 2014, 6 terrorists stormed the Army Public School Peshawar and martyred 147 innocent students and teachers of the school. And we still cannot get over it, to be very honest, and we will never, and we will make sure that, you know, that all of those sacrifices being made by the students of that school or the teachers of that school do not go in vain, and the resilience and courage of the bereaved families and students of APS have reinforced the nation's resolve to root out militancy in all forms and manifestations.
Right, and Prime Minister also has condoled with the victims of the families, and certainly we remember those families, we remember those students who were martyred on 16th of December by very brutal terrorists. And Shahzad, it has very personal and a deep touch to me, because I read in this school, I used to go into the same school and used to sit in the same classes. And I do remember when I was in the university and when I got the news, so initially the news was like a private school was attacked. They didn't reveal the name of that because it was a developing story, and after a certain point we came to know, I was really devastated, because this was my school and I used to wear the same uniform. So
and you know what, Hajar, it does not even matter whether, you know, it's the same school we attended or not. I think it's more about that, you know, that those children who sacrificed their lives for the motherland, and you know how the parents had a resolve with it as well. And I think every time we've been together on this occasion, ladies and gentlemen, we've always made sure very sorry that we pledge and urge to all of those families who are out there that please take us as your kids as well. And you know, your kids are obviously at a far better place, alhamdulillah, and soon or later I think we will be meeting them in any ways in heavens up there as well. So I think if that's the belief system, but ladies and gentlemen, that resolve, that resilience Pakistan has showed, alhamdulillah, now we are bearing the fruit of it as well, where we are full of peace, you know, where there's no terrorism, alhamdulillah, and we can pretty much do everything we want to do in our sovereign free land of Pakistan.
Right, so moving on to another top story, which is the player draft ceremony of Pakistan Super League 2023 held in Karachi. PTV Sports HD telecast the ceremony live. 6 teams completed their 18-member squad for the 8th edition. Lahore Qalandars picked Fakhr Zaman in the Platinum category, while Quetta Gladiators chose Vanindu Hasaranga, David Miller, Imran Tahir and Joshua Little joined Multan Sultans, while Karachi Kings picked Matthew Wade and Islamabad United chose Alex Hales in the Platinum category.
Bhanuka Raja Paksa joined Peshawar Zalmi. Not just that, I think Peshawar Zalmi played a very tricky shot over here, because imagine that in the retention what they did was that they got Babar Azam from Karachi to their team, and then they traded I think 1 or 2 of their players. I believe that it's Shoaib Malik, but you know, I can be incorrect too as well, so please make sure that you check through other sources. But that's something which I've heard, and that too from the Peshawar Zalmi's director's mouth as well. So he was like, you know, that was the deal of the year that we have broken, and that's wonderful. But now, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, you know, while having Hajar on my side every single day, we talk about so many different topics, and you know, most of the times we have always spoken about women empowerment and how people really need to have these platforms where they can go and then exhibit whatever they've been doing. And you know, such platforms will always promote them, give them that mileage which they always require. But we're not talking about such a platform only in Pakistan. We're talking about such a platform in Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, ladies and gentlemen. And we're very lucky that we've been joined by the founder of Elite KSA. Majorly, they're working online. What are they doing? What are the different wings they have? And, you know, and how are they empowering women and entrepreneurs and making sure that they're going to give them that mileage which they require while sitting at the luxury of their homes. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody. So you have to hear me out, you know, and please make sure that I'm going to take my time as well. So first of all, she happens to be a mechanical engineer from NED University. It's in Karachi, wonderful university. Then she happens to be a social entrepreneur. She happens to be a writer, trainer, community builder, blogger, columnist, a mother, a wife, a sister. Ladies and gentlemen, she is Ms. Javeria Asad. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much for this generous and profound introduction of me.
You truly deserve it, alhamdulillah, and thank you
been
so
an
much for
honor for
joining
me.
us. It's wonderful to have you because you've left your
Right.
3 kids behind in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. You're here in Pakistan, and we are glad that you've taken out time for us. So first of all, how did Elite KSA Club came into being? What did you think about it? It's going to be your 10 years now. So take us through the journey.
Okay, so story starts actually when I was thinking to where to go, because I'm the 90th generation. At that time, we don't have so many options,
Yep.
right? Okay, we have few options, whether we choose as an engineering or a doctorate, or maybe we can go in the commerce side. So at that time, I didn't want to pursue mechanical engineering at all.
Okay.
But my family said no, because we don't have any engineer in the family, so you can bear the burden. So, but because my childhood dream was to become what exactly right now I'm doing.
Wonderful.
I wanted to become a writer. I wanted to do masters in English literature and kind of things. So I just bowed down on the social trends, you can say the pressure, and acquired my mechanical engineering and started work in Karachi with a consultant company. So I'm HVAC air condition design engineer also. I worked
Mashallah,
there 4
HVAC,
years.
right?
Yes, HVAC. Then in 2006, I got married, alhamdulillah, blessed marriage, and then I moved to KSA. And that, of course, everybody know that initially, because I'm talking about the 16 years back
Yeah.
era, right? At that time, because now, mashallah, so much happening around the KSA. So at that time, I didn't find any, suitable options for me to pursue my engineering career in a way that what I wanted to achieve or I wanted to do. So initially 2 to 3 years were like I was just trying to adjust in the environment. Of course, try to understand my male spouse, about him. And of course, when you're studying, you don't know how much house chores had to be done. So I was doing all that. Typical housewife, you can say, persona I adopted at that time. But after 2 to 3 years, it was like burning out, because I was a very ambitious woman. My mother was also working.
Yeah. Please
So,
continue.
So like I was everything: mother, daughter, wife, sister. But Javeria Asad vanished totally.
Okay.
So
So
my
you didn't really see Javeria Asad in being a wife, in being a daughter, in being a sister.
That is, all these characters are compromised character. It's not the real personality
Okay.
of the human being, what I think.
All right.
Okay, every person has as an individual persona,
Yeah.
and these are different. You can say, I should solve the branches of the human being.
Different
because
traits of a
different traits or
personality.
The
different
social roles,
kind of
yeah.
fields or
Yeah.
social roles, you can say, we are
Right.
playing. But
Right.
we have our individuality.
Yeah.
What
Right.
I am, what
Right.
want from life, what
Yeah.
I want to do. So after 4 or 5 years after the birth of my first kid, Faiz, then I said, no, I have to start, because I was getting rusty. And I thought, okay, initially I started socialization. I said, okay, maybe I will find some opportunities, because I believe that don't wait for the opportunities, create them.
Yeah.
So when I started socialization, then I met some ladies who were like working, but in a sense they were doing some businesses online, but not in a particular direction, which should be like the international global methodologies of the marketing, branding. And so at that time I realized, no, I think this, I found gap. And this is, at that time I realized that I want to be a social entrepreneur.
Okay.
Because there's a difference between business entrepreneur and social entrepreneur. A business entrepreneur has a business idea, he or she looks after the investor, and then he was working for mainly for himself or herself. But the social entrepreneurship is mainly like people know about that these guys are helping the community. They are doing things to create the impact around
True.
them. And it's not a new theory. Many people are doing that. If you know the Muhammad Yunus from the Bangladesh, he started his bank in which he was giving loans, and particularly to the women.
Interest-free
97%
loans,
of the clients were the women.
Right.
But at that time, I didn't invest it in a form of money. So I thought, okay, I have services which I can offer. So I started like, okay, I was good in computers, I was good in designing, I am good in content writing. So then at that time, 2013, I, with some of my friends, I launched this Elite Club KSA. So initially,
Please continue.
initially we have 2 wings: social wing for the housewives and the entrepreneur wing. Social wing is because at that time, of course, we don't have any platform to socialize also, because me time is very important.
Right.
So social and mental well-being is very important, because when you socialize, you share your ideas, your culture, and because we have different nationalities, so I have this opportunity also that, and my club was open to all nationalities.
Wow.
So currently we are catering many nationalities.
And was it only for women?
Elite Club KSA is women and kids. And then in 2018, I launched Elite Literature Society, and literature has no boundaries.
True.
So for the literature, we have male and female, and we have a proper hierarchy.
Wonderful.
Our president is male, and we have vice president and secretaries, and then we launched our magazine, Elitian Times.
Yeah, I have it over here as well.
And you know, Shahzad, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has delegated this responsibility of earning the bread and butter to the men of the family, right, to the males, right? While the modern day feminist contours, they always ask for the equality and for the equity, and when you say equality, obviously you're also asking that responsibility to be delegated towards the woman, and this is where the responsibility of the woman gets double fold, and the respite that is given in the Islam, I think it has somehow getting shrinker because of the Western feminism, right? So how do you balance your kids, your job, and your work life with that, and how's the Pakistani diaspora back in Saudi Arabia?
Pakistani community you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, initially, as you mentioned that how I manage, so time map, you can say, a time chart, time management is very important.
Right.
And because I have acquired my engineering degree at that time, it was difficult, you know, to manage everything. But I really want to appreciate my late mother, who just passed in 2021. She always said, okay, you're acquiring master's degree, but at the same time, you have to be a mother, you have to be a housemaker. So she gave me that training that if I'm going somewhere and I have to run my home alone, then I should have basic training that I can start my home by own. So, you know, alhamdulillah, women in that term are most blessed. We are multitaskers. Unfortunately, males are no. If they are doing one thing, they will do it at the same time. But we are doing many things.
Well, it's not always the case, though, in my defense.
So, and actually, I always believe that whatever time you're spending should be meaningful. Don't waste your time.
Right.
I don't, usually women in Pakistan, I don't know, they have very culture, they have mates,
Right.
In the morning. Please
Don't
do
you
this,
have it
do
in
that.
Saudi Arabia?
No, I don't have any
Really?
domestic help for the 24 hours. Like somebody is coming for 2 to 3 hours, and they are doing cleaning and everything. But my husband doesn't like to cook food by the maid, so I have to cook everything. But it's all about how you're managing things and how you want to pursue your thing to be done. Because if I will not finish my house chore on time, and then I will not get any time for myself. And this Elite Club is basically for my me time.
Right.
So, and my husband he's very supportive, but of course I have to fulfill all the requirements, all the needs of my family first.
Yeah. But then at times, obviously, you know, it can be challenging with you that, okay, you know, whether I have to dedicate my time towards the Elite Club KSA, or whether do I have to listen to what my husband wants from me as of now. So, you know, at times when it does get challenging, what do you pick on? You know, are you going to pick on whether to fulfill the requirements of your worthy husband, or do you think you'll be like, okay, yaar, ab aap khud sambhal le, main zara abhi club ke sath busy. How do you do it?
Honestly, my husband is very, very much flexible.
Alhamdulillah.
Sometimes if like I have to pursue any project and I'm meeting deadlines, then definitely I will give preference to my projects. So he understands, because he know I'm ambitious working woman, and he understands the criticality of the deadlines.
Exactly. And in addition to that, because, you know, we are speaking about it and how you maintain that work-life balance, let's talk about these 4 different wings you have for the Elite Club KSA as well, you know, where you're talking about social and welfare wing, then we have the entrepreneur wing, then we move down to the kids wing as well. So how do you make sure that each and every wing will be given the same amount of priority as you're, for example, you know, if you're busy with the entrepreneur wing, you know, so that you do not miss out on the kids wings, you know? So how do you maintain that balance? And with all of these wings, do you think that it's more of a specialized form of what we're doing, or the kind of services you're providing with the club?
Okay, you know, sometimes bad times bring the solutions. You know, COVID-19 was for me, it's a blessing in disguise, because it's given the option, the online option.
True.
So it makes things easier for me. For example, if I'm after that, even COVID, if I'm pursuing something in physical, then sometime I'm managing kids wing online, or vice versa. So actually we have divided like our months, like for example, one month we are focusing on Entrepreneur Club.
Okay.
When the season is on, the wedding season is on, and they have to increase their sales and kind of things, the new year, everything. And because of the exams, sometimes kids are busy in their exams. So at that time we run our social wing.
Wonderful.
Because at that time mothers need some time
Yeah.
to get relaxation. So we divide it like that. And also for the magazine, actually it's not a monthly magazine. Whenever I could get the good content, because plagiarism is very crucial. I have told my all the writers, write 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines, but it should be your thing. Whatever you're thinking about life, whatever your observations, your experiences, I need your insight. I don't want anything from the Google.
Yeah.
So that is very important. So whenever I get the good content, I just publish it, because we have a proper theme. For example, I launched it because after that I didn't get the time, of course, as you said, we have other priorities also. And currently, actually, I am working on my own book also.
Yep.
Wonderful.
So whatever I have done, switching from my engineering to the social entrepreneurship, so I have just, penned down my all the journey.
And it's wonderful, and it's very evident, the way you're speaking, you're very into that literature side of yours as well, because you wanted to do it. Unfortunately, you couldn't. You had to bow down to what your parents were saying. But very quickly, for all of that time spent, for all of that hard work you've been doing, for all of these other women and kids out there, and for your, literature club, time. This is how I think. It really needs to bring back a lot of value. Yeah, and when you're spending so much time on things which you love the most, if they do not reciprocate in another valuable term, may it be money for some, may it be good friendships for some, may it be good PR for some. How do you think that, God forbid, if that value does not come back to you, will you still continue to give your time to such an initiative?
First of all, if you want to become, if you are asking me as a social entrepreneur, community builder, if you want to pursue it, then don't forget about it that you will get anything in return in terms of like money and commercial point of view.
True.
But I'm a giver actually. Adam Grant, there is a book.
काश आप ईद पे आती हम आपसे ईद ही मांग लेते.
So I have nothing in my fund. I have so many gyan I can give you. So the Adam Grant mentioned his book Give and Take. There are 3 kind of people: givers, takers, and matchers. And givers are always give. And although they slow very their movement, their growth very slowly in the community, but people know you. People acknowledge your efforts.
True.
So whenever I meet some lady, for example, I just want to share an example, or you can say event happened to me. We did the international collaboration with the organization Connected Women. It's a Singapore-based organization, and they are doing on a very larger scale. So when I met the lady, the founder, Gina Romero, so at that time I showed her that, okay, I'm also running a very big organization, although we were not. But we had a meeting and she said, okay, I want to give you an opportunity to launch KSA chapter in within your capacity. Said, okay, but I had to meet their requirements. They have, they are a big organization, and every organization have their different methodologies, the marketing templates and everything. So I have to meet those standards. So I discussed with my friend and said, no, we can do it. So we portray ourselves, now we have a strong team, and we did it. And we did our first launch. And mashallah, from different nationalities, 40 plus entrepreneurs joined us. Even the housewife, because we open to all students, housewives, because I always believe that you can turn your hobby into your profession.
True.
And in COVID-19, it happened actually. E-commerce industry boomed because many of the people, started their hobbies as a career, photography, cooking.
Wow.
So many males actually started the cooking channels.
Exactly, and it's wonderful. But thank you very much, Ms. Deveria, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation
so
with
much.
you. And, all our prayers are with you and with your initiative, and may you continue to do so for all of those
Thank
other
you so
women
much.
and kids and men who are out there as well. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, the fire really needs to be ignited from within, and then only then the fire will kindle. Not just that. I think in addition to that, what we really need to talk about is that how, your hobbies are becoming your businesses now. And once your hobby becomes a business, ladies and gentlemen, there's no stopping you. That's something which we will be talking about in the next segment as well. Please don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Good morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Organization of Islamic Cooperation delegation's visit to Pakistan has reinforced the centrality of a just settlement of the Kashmir dispute. Organization of Islamic Cooperation is working on plan to find solution to the long-standing Kashmir dispute. Taha's visit to Pakistan and Azad Jammu Kashmir is a strong message of support to the Kashmiri people. Organization of Islamic Cooperation Chief's remarks regarding Kashmir is a source of encouragement for the struggling Indian illegally Jammu and Kashmir people. Secretary General Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Hussain Brahim Taha has reiterated that Kashmir is on the top priority of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation agenda.
Back, and Shahzad, you know, there are a lot of myths about especially the pigeons, and especially pigeons are characteristics of the rural landscape a lot. And my mom used to say that whenever there are pigeons, that house is going to go empty in a certain period of time. I don't know why she doesn't take into account the factor of the globalization or the urbanization, but it always lands in the fall of the pigeons. I don't know why, something like that. But you know, there are
Well,
lots
this is for the very first time that I'm hearing it, that you know,
Really?
for any household which is going to have pigeons, the house will run empty.
Yeah, my mom says that it's a myth,
Probably.
right? So a lot of people, they have this habit of breeding a lot of lovebirds, right? And there's a lot of culture of aviary, especially in the Western countries, but not in Pakistan in that much. So we have someone in a studio who here with us who happens to be the breeder of the lovebirds, and he has a lot of lovebirds. So we are going to ask him about how many birds do we have, and you know, what is the socio-economic dynamics that is associated with that. So we are very glad that we have been joined by Naveed Sheikh, who happens to be the promoter
And aviculturist.
aviculturalist. Yes. So assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you, because you know, I was so tired of watching all of these aviary videos on my YouTube and Facebook, and everybody was like that it's a $1 million business and people should do it.
It is,
and
it is.
and it's very easy to do it as well. And I was like, hey, you know what, I don't know how it's going to happen, but finally, alhamdulillah, we have that gentleman over here who's going to answer all our questions. So you were born in England.
Born in England, came to Pakistan in 2009, and in 2009 developed this interest of looking at birds, you know, exploring nature.
Yeah.
And then I heard the mathematics of the profit returns on the business.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when I heard it in the beginning, I said it's wrong. I said it can't be. It's not possible that a bird sells for so much money. Then when I went to the market, I bought my first pay. Then I started visiting several farms. It developed so much interest, first in the hobby, second economically. Then I started breeding birds accordingly. And now you can say I've sold hundreds of thousands of birds. Hundreds
From
of thousands.
2009 till 2020.
Till date.
How many, if you are to kind of give us a rough idea of how many pairs have you sold, what's the number like? Is it like 100,000 bird, 200,000 bird?
Let's just say around 100,000. Let's stay on the safe side.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful. You know, so he's keeping at the safe side, and that too with a 100,000 figure. So I don't know, you know, what's going to be the wrong side, unfortunately, but that's wonderful. So now, for all of those people who are out there, obviously it's a hobby. You know, it must be a difficult task, because now when we speak about 100,000 or more birds, you know, it's like an everyday job now. You know, you have to be on your tiptoes. You need to make sure that the birds are healthy every single day. All the workers who are working, you know, in your aviary are actually looking after the hygiene and every aspect of it. So how does that work, and you know, how do you manage all of that?
Being very honest, it's not hard.
Okay.
It's very simple. All you have to do is, first of all, maintain temperature, maintain the humidity of your aviary, and then you need to give them a proper diet. So basically, you have a container which has seeds, a container with water. Make sure it's daily clean and everything. So all you have to do basically depends upon the size of your aviary.
Okay.
So let's just say you have 50 pairs.
Yeah, and we have pictures of your aviaries as well, so we're going to share them with our viewers as well. So please take us through, all right?
All right. So let's just say this bird over here. This is an upline, one of the most beautiful birds in lovebirds.
True.
Now, all right. Now let's try. Both speed se ja rahi hain. These are rings which are used in the feet of the birds.
Yeah.
So let's just say if they were to stop at a certain, abhi yahan pe, agar yahan pe rok dein.
Yeah.
Now this is a picture of a box inside
Right.
where a female has laid 5 to 8 eggs.
All right.
After 7 days, you start to see the veins start to appear.
True.
Egg becomes red. After 14 days of it becoming fertile, the eggs start to hatch. So what I do is, you have a pair which is worth $5,000. You have $5,000.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
then you have one pair which is like $50.
You cross them.
So we pick up their eggs, foster them under their eggs, and before they fertile, we get rid of them. And that's how people multiply their income. So you don't need to
So
have...
sorry, take us through again. So what happens? You had
So
a
let's just
pair?
say you have one lovebird over here worth $5,000.
Okay.
You have another lovebird exactly the same but different color.
Okay.
So this is expensive, this is cheap. Same size, eat the same food, drink the same water, give the same color of eggs.
Yeah.
So this has given 5 eggs. This has also given 5 eggs. Now the chick which is going to hatch from here is worth $1,000, for example.
True.
The chick which hatches from here is worth $50. We get rid of all these eggs, pick up their eggs and put it under there.
All right.
Then what happens naturally, they'll breed again,
Yeah.
lay eggs after, for example, 15 days, 20 days, 10 days. Then we'll shuffle it under another pair.
Yeah.
Then we make sure we take care of the calcium, the multivitamins, the health. Then they'll give eggs
So
again.
aren't they like-
So if they were, they're our money-making machines.
Yeah.
So if we were to make them sit on their own eggs,
Right.
fertilize them, incubate them and feed them, it's a 3-month process with the same 5 eggs.
All right.
So during those 3 months, we multiply it by 3 and take 15. So in the beginning,
Almost $30,000 after that cycle. But okay, aren't the birds like, भाईजान क्या मजाक बनाया हुआ मंडे देते हैं हम उठा के ले जाते हैं.
बस you have to make sure they're healthy. अब देखिए एक आदमी है उसकी intake है, now he is eating something but he's not burning it off.
Yeah.
And then you have an athlete who eats all of that but he's burning it off.
Yeah.
So same way we make sure they have flights, they fly properly, they have proper nutrition. So
And it's wonderful to know, because there's always a science behind the business, and for you to understand all of these minute details, so that you can work your aviary up. I think that the most challenging of all of this is to kind of get your customer bank out there, where people are always willing to, I'm going to call Naveed, he's always going to give us some good birds, and we never have had any complaints. So how did you build that up?
in the first few years, I was actually waiting for phone calls. Yeah, no one's phoning me. So after that gradual process, I had many phone calls coming. So to explain everything from A to Z over and over again was a task for me.
Yeah.
So I said, let's convert this into a form of a video.
Okay.
Then I started my Facebook page by the name Naveed Sheikh. Then I made a YouTube channel by the name Naveed Sheikh Official. I started uploading videos over there. And I made it free for everyone. So everything that I had to explain to a customer, I would do it all in a form of a video, 10-minute video, 15-minute video.
Yeah.
And then I would just send the link, all right, whoever wants to learn, check that video.
Yeah.
And then with the passage of time, 1,000 followers, 5,000 followers, 10, 50, now alhamdulillah reaching 100,000 followers only on YouTube. Facebook audience was separate. So then as the audience grew, it was a public demand for everyone to socialize in real grounds, in public grounds.
Yeah.
So now what we've started is events from city to city. So I have a friend, he's professionally, he was heading Sri Lankan Airlines at the airport. And he's left his job, a very good job.
Yeah.
Faiz Zafar Sardar Saab, he's left his job. Now he's only breeding lovebirds.
That's it.
And he conducted a workshop last month which was fantastic, professional. And he gathered people from different communities, people who were engineers, doctors, many women, because we believe in women empowerment. As I've said in one of my interviews before, 22 crore Pakistanis living in Pakistan, 48% of them are men, 52% is women.
Yeah.
So if they were to start earning money, sitting at home, it helps the nation.
True.
It helps the economy of our country.
Helps the household as well.
Yes, and you'll have a very happy household. No more fights, no more,
Yeah, I think it's wonderful, to kind of get this conversation started, and obviously, for people who do have a lot of time at their expense. I think what they can do is probably look into such a hobby, because it's a hobby which will definitely convert into a business one day, and that's the process, you know, so it's simpler.
Many people who are, sorry for cutting you short,
Sure.
many people who are working in as officials in government, or people who are working in offices, they put the feed in, change the water, go to work.
Yeah.
Come back in the evening, give them their boiled egg or whatever is needed. So they're working professionally, and they've got a secondary source of income,
True.
which is supporting their household. And not only are they selling birds, it's actually developed a full industry. So when we buy a bird, we need to buy seeds, we need to buy cages,
True.
we need to buy breeding boxes. It's all delivered by either a rickshawala, a truckman.
Yeah.
So the whole industry is affected by just buying birds. So everyone has a source of income now.
And you're creating job opportunities for people who've been looking after your aviary, you know,
Yes,
if
yes.
it's gone commercial.
So now in every aviary, they have at least one worker. So one worker has now a source of income. He is supporting his family.
True. And how many aviaries do you think people, because I've seen a mushroom growth in aviaries in the recent years as well. How many aviaries do you think all over Pakistan they might be?
We're less than 1% of the Pakistan's population. People who are professionally breeding, maybe 500,000.
500,000.
But people who have pets in their house, like one lovebird, two lovebirds, or one raw
That'll
parrot,
be quite a lot.
they may be
But
many.
500,000 means almost a million jobs out there, you know, for
Yes.
people, because they definitely need 2 people or more. But over here in Pakistan, we have another concept. For example, Naveed happens to be a dear friend, you know, I'm a regular visitor, we've been to school together, and one day I come up to Naveed and be like, hey, you know what, this most expensive bird of yours, bro, you know, you're a friend, yaar, de yaar, chal koi nahi chidi the hai. So, you know, we have this culture over here. So how do you negate that culture? Because I've
I
always...
said, this pay belongs to my brother, deal with it.
No, but at times you just cannot escape from that, na? You know, that's what the problem is, you know.
The beautiful thing about this is, it's a bird which is actually producing further
Yeah.
offspring. So even if you have to give one gift free, it's not coming out of my pocket.
True.
So if I have 5 eggs, 5 chicks,
Yeah.
I can give one gift away.
But it is coming out from your pocket, because for all of that seed, for that gentleman working every
To be
single
very
day.
honest, to add over here, the monthly expense on this business is peanuts. It's
Really?
nothing, yes.
For example.
Let's say, for example, we have 50 pairs.
Yeah.
The monthly maintenance on which includes seeds for 50 pairs, seeds, boiled eggs, vegetables, vitamins, excluding electricity bill and the labor,
Yeah.
you're looking at 25,000 rupees a month
That's it for 50 pairs?
for 50 pairs.
That's it.
25 to 30,000 rupees, that's it.
So even if you include
So let's just
electricity-
say 50,000 rupees a month.
yeah.
That's 6 lakh rupees a year.
Yeah.
And if you have one bird which is worth 5 lakh rupees, that's your annual expense covered with one chick.
True.
Now, what I would like to add over here as well is, people may be thinking that he's talking big or too much money. I just say, if every household in Pakistan who has developed interest with pets,
Yeah.
with birds, if they were to only breed 10 pairs in their house and have the expectation of generating only 50,000 to 100,000 rupees a month, that will develop many job opportunities, a secondary source of income, and all that Rona Dona, you know, Pakistan's become expensive, we can't pay the bills.
Yeah.
Until you don't have multiple sources of income, we can't grow as a nation.
True. And that's wonderful. Thank you very much for reminding all of us about that as well, that we really need to have multiple sources, and that's great. But over here, you know, there are a few fraudulent activities which do take place, even with birds. So imagine
yes.
once I went to buy a pair.
Oh, so you bought a pair once?
Yeah, I bought a pair once, and you know what happened was that both of them came out to be male. You know, and I was like, okay. You know,
How did I start? In 2009,
Yeah.
I went to someone's house with a reference.
Yeah.
I said, I want a breeding pair. I said, what's the price of a normal? They said, for example, 2,000 rupees. What's the price of a breeder? 10,000. I said, give me 2.
Yeah.
After 1 year, they both turned out to be males.
Yeah.
That's when I started to make a video,
Yeah.
is that this is how to define male and female.
So how do you check? You know, because you're here, just let us know.
So in lovebirds, usually a male is smaller in size,
Okay.
and the width of its forehead is smaller, and the distance between the two, you can say the claws, is very near to each other.
Okay.
And when it flies fast, and you can hear the sound of its wings. In comparison to the female, bigger in size, wider forehead, wider from the hips, from the bottom part, And when it sits, its punje it's
Yeah,
out there
far
like that.
away.
And when it flies, you can feel that, all right, this is a female, it's slower in comparison.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you very much, Naveed bhai,
you
for
so
being
much.
with us.
And,
Wonderful
I'm
to
honoured.
be
Thank you.
Conversation. Wonderful to be in conversation with you, and for people who are out there, ladies and gentlemen, I think it is our humble initiative to make sure that you actually take something away from our conversation today. If you've always been fond of birds, I think why not convert your hobby into a business, and then probably everybody can play a role. And even if you have kids at your place, I think they're going to be the happiest.
True, that's very true, and thank you so much for saying that. So until next time, it's a good boy.
Good morning.